speaking sect that fled to a nearby mountain but were surrounded by militants and endangered. The Islamic State group has carved out a self-styled caliphate in a large area on the Iraqi-Syrian border. So what does that all mean to people here in Nebraska? To answer that, more than 100 Iraqi Americans took to the streets near the capital earlier today. And 1011's Joe McHale starts our team coverage live downtown.
Oh, and it's been a very quiet evening down here in front of the governor's mansion, but that wasn't the case earlier today when demonstrators made their way to this area right here in front of the front gate. Now, these people are a little bit worried. They're concerned. It's been a really tough few months for them as they're worried for their friends and families back in Iraq. Now, today's protest was relatively peaceful, except for there was one arrest. Lincoln Police Captain Michon Marl says a man was encouraging the rest of the group to get closer to the fence and would not comply when officers and Nebraska State Patrol troopers tried to move him back. He was jailed and released, but will face charges for not complying with a lawful order. After the incident, things calmed back down and remained that way for the rest of the day. The main goal of LPD was to make sure the group stayed out of the street due to safety concerns, not only for protesters, but also for oncoming vehicles.
It was a very large group that congregated pretty spontaneously. We had no information beforehand that they were going to be gathering.
It happened so fast that 8th Street between 14th and Goodhue had to be closed for a brief period of time while demonstrators made their way to the governor's mansion. At one point, there were about 20 to 25 police officers and a dozen state troopers in the area to keep the mansion and people around it secure. But again, overall, it was a very peaceful protest, and there were, thankfully, no injuries. Now, NSP would not confirm whether the governor or the First Lady were home during the time of the demonstration, but said both of them were aware of the situation. Reporting live in Lincoln, Joe McHale, 1011 News.
All right, Joe, thank you very much for that report. 1011's Casey Geraldo was there with the protesters as they began their emotional journey to be heard. She joins us in the studio now with Casey.
Oh, when the protest began early this afternoon, Lincoln's Yezidi community marched their message around town. They want American aid to their families in Iraq. After a long night of worrying and wondering about family members back in Iraq, plenty of tears and anguish in Lincoln's Yezidi community.
We haven't slept since yesterday.
They hit the tower, so you don't got no signal, you don't got no phone signal or nothing, so people cannot post things outside the country.
That leaves family here in Lincoln scrambling to find out where loved ones are and how they'll make it.
Either they're dying because of thirst, and walking long distance they're dying.
As far as that we know, everybody left their village and been killed, and a woman been raped.
Today, Khalil and Sedo are doing all they possibly can to get help to their loved ones.
They need to help us. And we're asking peacefully for the U.S. government to please intervene.
As a U.S. citizen, I'm asking for my government to help our people.
As Joe talked about, it was a primarily peaceful protest. When I talked to Lincoln Police earlier, they told me they were only there to keep everyone safe. The protesters say they'll be back again tomorrow. In the studio, Casey Geraldo, 1011 News.
Now,